This week, the Biden-Harris campaign announced the endorsement of a coalition of 15 youth and Gen Z voter groups. The campaign also launched Students for Biden-Harris that will mobilize volunteers on more than 1,000 college campuses nationwide. In 2020, President Biden carried voters under 30 by 24 points against Donald Trump. And young voters will obviously be a crucial voting bloc again this November. One recent poll found 72% of young voters say they are likely to vote in the 2024 election, with 57% of them saying they are extremely likely to vote. In the last election, young voters helped elect Congressman Maxwell Frost, the youngest member of Congress. Gun safety advocate and Parkland, Florida shooting survivor David Hogg was active in Maxwell Frost's campaign. After that, David Hogg founded an organization to support young candidates for office. David Hogg's organization, Leaders We Deserve, endorses young candidates to achieve more diversity and greater representation in state legislatures, which remain majority male and majority white. Joining us now is David Hogg, president of Leaders We Deserve. With him are two candidates his organization has recently endorsed, Christine Cockley, and she is a candidate for a state house representative in Ohio's 6th district, and Ashwin Ramaswamy. He is a candidate for a state senate in Georgia's 48th district. David, let me begin with you and your choice in endorsing these two candidates.
Well, they're incredible representations of all the best that our generation has to offer, from Christine's work across Ohio to help, bring the next generation into power and with the party, and with Ashwin's work to help secure our elections in 2020. And the fact that Ashwin himself is running against a fake elector for Trump in one of the most competitive races in Georgia is significant, because we have to show our generation we're not just voting on the outside, but we're getting representation on the inside too, people who understand the anxiety of what it's like going through a school shooter drill. Because unfortunately, Biden does have a bit of a youth voter problem. And part of our hope with this work is to show young people that there are many people on the ballot, many young people on the ballot that are, not just the president, but are all across the place.
Christine, Ohio can sometimes be a lonely place for a Democrat to be campaigning. What made you decide to run for the state house?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I am running to represent the west side of Columbus because I saw Republicans try to take away voting rights and reproductive rights in Ohio last year. This is out of touch with what Ohioans and people in my community really need. The majority of Ohio state legislators don't look like my community and don't have the lived experiences of my community. It's unrealistic to expect people without lived experiences to legislate in the best interest of Ohioans. I know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck, and I know what it's like to live with a disability. That's why I want to lead with empathy, advocate for our most vulnerable neighbors, and take concrete action at the State House.
And Ashwin, I've had this discussion with David about the need to focus on state legislatures, since so much is happening there, from gun safety issues and other issues that are crucial. And yet, especially the national media attention is always on Washington elective office. It's always on the House of Representatives in Washington, United States Senate. What made you aim for the state Senate in Georgia?
Well, what I saw was that I really wanted to give back to my own community. And what we often see is that the way to make larger systemic change is actually not to start at Washington, but to actually start in your own communities and doing the kind of civic engagement needed to do that kind of work. And for me, as David mentioned, I worked in the federal government on election security in 2020, working with states to make sure that our elections are secure. And I saw the important need for more talented folks to go work at the state level. And when I saw that Sean Still, my current state senator, was indicted with Trump for being a fake elector, I realized that someone needed to step up and really show that we're not going to stand for that, and that we actually want folks who are going to be working on the issues that matter and not just overturning the will of the voters.
Christine, what do you think voters need to know about you and what you bring what you would bring to that office?
Absolutely. I think it goes back to that empathy and being able to advocate for our most vulnerable neighbors. Most importantly, the primary election is on Tuesday. I don't take corporate PAC money, and I rely on small dollar contributions. If anyone wants to learn more about me and help out in sending me to the State House, you can do so at cockleyforohio.com.
And Ashwin, what should voters in Georgia know about you and what you would bring to the job?
But what voters should know is that I'm from Johns Creek. It's where I was born and raised. I went to public schools here, and I want to really make sure everyone has the opportunities I did. And I would bring a new perspective to the legislature. I'd be the first Gen Z member of the state Senate, the first computer scientist, and the first Indian American legislator in Georgia. But I hope that by playing this role, I'm able to bridge these communities together. I would be representative for everyone. And I want to make sure that we're really bringing the energy, integrity, and unity to make sure that folks from all stripes can really work together on the issues that matter for us.
David Hogg, how many more candidates are you working with for state legislative office around the country?
This cycle, we're going to be working with 30 across the country. And a big reason for that, Lawrence, is because we want to show that, you know, we can't support every candidate, unfortunately, but the ones that we do, we want to support very heavily. We work on a day-to-day basis with their campaigns, whether it's figuring out how to do their door knocking, whether it's how to do call time, and we also financially support the campaigns as well, because that's where a lot of young people need that support. But the real reason why we do this more than anything, Lawrence, is because I believe the greatest threat to American democracy is the hopelessness and apathy that has created people like Donald Trump. And my hope is that when young people look at candidates like Christine or Ashwin, they know that not all hope is lost. And if anybody wants to support that, they can go to leaderswedeserve.com. Thank you so much.